Hello guys and welcome to Stafford Education Online Masterclass. As usual, my name is Lee Stafford and I will be your host through this session today. We've got a very special staff that's going to be presenting to you today. But before I introduce her, please guys, as usual, ask us any questions today about the work that you see I was about to say your name then, doing or anything about the industry whatsoever. I know that you guys are all starting out in your career. So any questions that you've got about any of the recipes that you're learning, at least Stafford Education, the recipe that you see today, or anything about the opportunities in here, anything that pops into your head, we're here to help today. We're here to share information with you guys. So any questions that you've got, then please just feel free to ask. We certainly won't make you feel silly for any questions that you do ask. So today, the special staff that I'm going to introduce you to, I've known now for 7 years. We've been working together in the Lee Stafford Education program for 7 years. Interestingly, how we first met is Lee Stafford Education was doing some presentations at Sal International, and this young lady saw us working and she simply emailed us and said, guys, how do I get to be a part of what you're doing? And just through that simple email, reaching out, we started working together. They started off as a rookie and then they become a staff, and recently they just opened up their own salon, and we were just having the conversation before we come on air. They're now so busy in the salon that they haven't got any places for any new clients until the middle of January next year. That's 2 months before they can fit any new clients in. That just goes to show you, how many good things that they're doing in that salon. They're here today to share a lot of that stuff with you. So we're very, very lucky and very excited and privileged today to share with you our staff, Dayna. Dayna, take it away.
Hey Lee, thank you so much for that introduction. That is lovely of you. So today, guys, we're going to do an adaptation or a twist on the global forehead color with the Quasi and the Lee Stafford recipes. So this recipe is going to be super, super adaptable to all areas of kind of like your global application, whether it's toning, whether it is a vivid or a bleed, any of the root stretches and everything like that we're seeing to come through a lot at the moment. This is going to work really, really well to just show you a really easy way to be able to adapt that into your salon, into your column, as part of your toolbox that you've got there as well. So how we work through the recipe, it's very simple to kind of work through. We've still got our hot cross bun or our 4 quadrants that we tend to use. The things that will change within this recipe are the placement of where we apply the color. So as we start to work through, we're going to we want to go through here, and the way that we want the result to be finished is we want there to be a longer kind of deeper root, and we're going to melt it out into something a little bit lighter towards the ends. So this is really nice if you've got any balayages or any highlights, or a client that's used to having like a full head of highlights but then wants to kind of deepen out the root to make it a little bit more softer, to make it a bit more natural, low maintenance, but they don't want to commit to going darker. So this is a really nice way that you can kind of transition somebody into that, but then still allow them to fade out and then kind of still be nice and blonde afterwards. You can use it on your scalp bleachers. You can use this if someone wants to have more of a vibrant end and a deeper root. It's really nice at this time of year as well, with all the autumnal tones and everything coming through, that we can kind of really play around with, just getting creative with some color instead of going through the same color all the way from the roots to the ends.
So there's no kind of, you're not committed to this. It's going to wash out.
Yeah, depending on what your color selection or your color choice will be, depending on what the consultation is, what the client is required, you can make it as kind of as low maintenance as you like, or you can make it as committed as the client wants to. So say, for example, someone's got grey coverage. They need to cover all of their white hair, but then they also don't want to be really heavy and dense through the ends, then you could use a lighter shade through some of the ends, even if it was a shade or two lighter than what you've got through the root, just to give you a really nice soft transition through.
Brilliant, thank you. So hello Amber from Chichester. Hello Bon from Chichester. Great to see you too, mate. That just made me think, Bon. Last week there was a young lady that won the competition, and I need to send her some products. So I don't think I've received an email from you, Bon. But can you do me a favour, please, buddy? Can you find out who that young lady is and where I need to send them products to, and I'll get them off to her next week.
Nice. Don't forget about those products. There's some good bits.
Hello Anna from Chichester. Hello Ellie from Chichester. Lots of guys from Chichester here this week. We've got Laura from Chichester. We've got another Laura from Chichester. Hello Laura. With Tracy from Chichester. Hello Tracy. And Bond says he sent an email to Jane. Okay, I'm sure Jane's watching this right now. So Jane, you've probably already sent me the email, Jane, and I've missed it, but would you mind sending me that email again? Oh, and he's going to send me an email as well. Okay, Bond, that'll be fantastic. Thanks, buddy.
Definitely don't want to be missing out. All right, so guys, the way we're going to first start working through our first quadrant, similar to the global forehead recipe, we're going to work through our pre-section through here on each side. We're going to go down a little bit further than what we do with just normal kind of regrowth through here. So we're kind of almost smudging the color down probably around about 5 to 6 centimeters. What we want to make sure is that this color is over the radial ridge, which is that kind of curve of the head there. By applying the color a little bit lower, it's just going to allow us, when we blend our other color through, to just give a really, really nice soft blend over the top there. So we're going to work our way through our section as we would with the global forehead. The only thing that's changing is we're just smudging our color down a little bit lower.
Hello, Paula from Abingdon and Whitney. Bon says, Laura's so excited. Thank you, Bon. I'm going to send her a lovely goodie bag. So I hope she enjoys it. If you could send me a little message saying what Laura's hair type is like, Bon, and I'll try to send some products that are best suited to her.
All right, guys, so basically we just kind of keep working our way through. As we smudge this color down, what we're not doing is keeping the brush really, really flat onto the head. We're actually just kind of scooping off a little bit just to create a little bit of softness through there as well. So we're not going to be too heavy onto the head there.
And what color is that again, Dayna?
So the color that we're using at the moment, this is going to be so it's a mix between a level 8 and a level 7 copper, and then through the ends I've got a level 10 copper. So it's going to be a really, really nice kind of like apricot kind of blend through the ends there. So I wanted to be able to show you something that was still quite gentle and quite soft, but you could still see the transition between the two colors there.
So is this quite similar to how you would do a root tint?
This part of the application is similar, yes, definitely, to a root tint. The thing that changes is how far we kind of smudge the color through. So if someone tended to have, it on a root tint, you would focus mainly on the root area. What we're doing is bringing the color up a little bit higher.
Gotcha. And that smudge is to get a diffused feeling to the finish. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly right. We don't want to create any harsh lines or anything in there because we're going to have to try and blend them out a little bit later. So by kind of smudging the hair through now, it just prevents that from happening later. So it saves you having to do more work. And with this as well, depending on how high or how low you'd kind of smudge that root area through, that will depend. That will also give you a different look as well. So depending if someone you just want to kind of lightly give someone a bit of a root tap, or you just want to kind of smudge out that very root area to give them almost like a little bit of a shadow, you wouldn't need to go all the way down. You could just kind of adapt that to kind of what the client needs and what they're looking for, really.
So I suppose this is very versatile because you could use any colors, couldn't you?
Absolutely. This is a really nice way if you wanted to use any of the vivid colors as well. You can use any of your direct dyes or vivid colors. You can use a really beautiful, like a natural, like someone's natural depth on their root, but then you could smudge that to a really, really vibrant red, or even lovely with all your blondes as well. So I would say in terms of like color selection, definitely thinking about what the client's needs are. What's suitable for your client? Do you know, what do they do outside of work? And, well, you know, they might want to have a bit of fun. They might not always be very natural. You can go super natural or super vibrant depending on what the client wants, really.
Gotcha. And is this something that you would use in the salon quite a lot?
This is something we use very often in the salon. Most of the time, probably this is the most common way if we've like done a balayage or some kind of highlights as well, where we just want to kind of smudge that root out a little bit just to keep it a little bit softer in there. But we probably, as we get to the front, I'll show you a little tip, because we're not going to take it super low down around the hairline at the front. By doing that, it just allows us to kind of really work with anyone that has, like, if you've done a really full head of highlights or you've done a balayage and someone's got that really, really nice kind of face frame through the front that's a bit of a lighter pop, we can just apply this just on the very, very root, or even leave it off, and then you would then apply your lighter tone through that front section. So this is a really nice way to be able to adapt it to a lot of different people. Or we've had clients that, especially, you know, after the lockdown and everything, they decided that, do you know what, I'm done with my highlights. I don't really want to have my hair highlighted all the time. I want it to be a little bit more low maintenance. So this is something that we've done again with a Quasi, because it does help to blend some of the white hair through. Gotcha. And also it's really nice because, again, it's not, you don't end up with a load of demarcation as what you can do when you have a permanent color on their hair, depending on what their coverage is like, if they need white coverage or not. But that's a really nice way to transition someone from having highlights with their natural regrowth that's coming through to then keep it really nice and soft, so they can just keep it low maintenance and just make it a little bit more natural for them.
Bon, would you do me a favor? Would you just put that information into the email when you send it to me, please, buddy, so I can make sure I send the right products to Laura? Thank you for that. Anna has asked you a question, Dayna. She says, have you had any bad experiences while colouring hair?
Great question, Anna. I think every hairdresser can say they've got to have some bad experience somewhere there, and you have to be proud to own that, because all of your mistakes, you learn from them each and every time, no matter how big or how small they will be. But yes, we've all had some.
What's been your worst mistake that you've ever made? And that's a question from Laura.
Great question, Laura. The worst mistake I've ever made. The worst mistake I've ever made, and I think this would be when I was starting out in my career, is don't mix up lots of different colors at the same time in the same bowls, because sometimes you get a little bit confused. You think they're all right, and then you realize halfway through, oh my God, I'm sweating. Where have I put this color? What have I done wrong? You get to the whole way through the basin. What can I do? Do I tell the client now? Do I not tell the client now? Do I just work it out? Thankfully, at this point, I got the color bowls right. I spent about an hour working out.
Do you know my worst colour mistake, Dayna? It wasn't, well, I was an assistant in the salon, and the stylist asked me to mix up a blonde colour, and I mixed up a black by mistake. Oh. And I gave it to the colorist, and they didn't realise till they were about 15 minutes in that it was black and not blonde.
Oh my goodness.
I know. That's not a good one, is it?
No, it is not a good one. I have had an assistant rinse off my colour just after I applied my colour.
Yeah.
Which
so you've done a similar thing?
Yeah. Well, I've applied a colour. One of our assistants has, not in the salon where I am now, not in my salon, but a previous salon, and one of our assistants has rinsed off the wrong client just after you've applied a colour. Oh, so you know, some of these things can happen, and it is, you know, it's human error. We're all human. Things happen. You'll never make those mistakes again, right? You'll always check the client, who you're rinsing,
exactly.
the colour you've got. You'll make that right.
I suppose it's a lot better rinsing off a colour that you've just put on rather than a black colour that stayed on for too long.
Yeah, this is it. All right, guys. So as we're working through, you'll see I'm smudging that little bit of that root colour down a little bit further as we work through. So just working back through our sections, allowing the hair to lie back down again. Applying a little bit more colour. We're using my thumb and my finger to pinch the colour through to allow for saturation. Opposed to, you'll see some people, sometimes they like to use 2 fingers to kind of colour through. What we're doing is just pinching that through so we can really allow that colour to work right into the hair. We've given it a little bit of a comb as well, just to diffuse that line slightly. So then when we go back to apply the colour through our ends, we've already got like a really, really nice kind of blend that's there. You'll start to see as this colour starts to develop and get a little bit darker, you will start to notice that there is a really, really nice kind of, you can already see the blend starting to happen. So if you've got any like areas in there that you think, oh, that's a little bit too heavy or I can see a line, just take it out there straight away and that will save all the work later for you.
Jamily, I hope I pronounced that right. My dyslexic is working overdrive again. Jamily, what is it, Dayna? Jamily?
Yeah.
How long have you been colouring for, Dayna?
Oh gosh, I have been hairdressing now for 17 years, which makes me sound really old. So I've been colouring for a little while in there. I started out when I was working as an apprentice. Part of our apprenticeship was we had to be a colourist for one of our stylists for about a year or so before we were allowed to start doing our own clients. So I've been able to, yeah, I've been colouring for a long time now.
And we've got a question from Ellie. She says, what do you find most challenging in hairdressing?
Oh, great question, Ellie. I think the thing that I find most challenging in hairdressing are the clients and their expectations and Instagram.
How do you manage that?
I think that I would say just be as honest as possible. Not everything is possible. Be honest with the client and break it down and try and get them to understand or walk them through the processes that you need to do to be able to get your information across so they understand why, really.
We've got a question from Tracy. Some great questions today, guys. What hair colouring technique do you enjoy doing the most?
Oh, that's a great question. Do you know what? There's so many fantastic colouring techniques out there. How do you choose which one? At the moment, I've been really enjoying like toning, because I think toning has changed a lot lately. So toning just isn't about applying one colour all over a full head of highlights or one colour over a scalp bleach or something like that. So toning has kind of evolved so much, and it's almost like another colour service that you add on to your client visit when they're in the salon, and it's so adaptable, and this technique is perfect for that as well. So I have to say something like this has probably been my favorite thing at the moment, because it is so adaptable and you can use it in lots of different ways.
Gotcha. Paul has just asked the question, can people still apply for the mentor program, the staff program? We are always looking for new staffs, Paula. And so, yes, you can still apply. And how it works is that you would first become a rookie. So you would basically assist someone like Dayna, and you would learn all the recipes that we coach in the college that you guys learn, in your everyday lessons. We coach people, the rookies, while they're assisting the staffs on the recipes and the LSC coaching methodologies. And as soon as the rookie feels really confident and comfortable, and when the staff feels really sort of confident and comfortable in the rookie, then they would move from a rookie to a staff. And then you would sort of go on to train the trainers, work with the college trainers in the colleges, do masterclasses like Dayna is doing now. So yes, very much so, Paula. If you're ever interested in getting involved in a mentorship program, then just email us, Stafford Education.
This is it. You never know what can happen if you drop them an email.
Exactly. Look what happened to you, Dayna. I mean,
I know, right?
You're flying now. You're flying. Do you think that becoming a staff, Dayna,
yeah,
or going through that process of being a rookie and now becoming a staff, do you think that's been quite sort of pivotal in your career?
I think so, definitely. I never thought that I would be doing anything like this ever. And I feel like it's quite a privilege for me to be able to be here teaching or sharing my information with you guys. Like, that is huge to be able to do that. And I think as well, giving you confidence in yourself as a hairdresser or a stylist, I think that it's amazing to be able to do that, because I think we always have progression. We always want to strive for something. And for me, being able to, like, I got to a point and I kind of wanted to share things and I didn't really know how to do that. And being part of this program or being part of Lee Stafford Education, it's taught me so much about my own career and about my own skills. And I've definitely become a better hairdresser, listener, educator, boss, everything since being part of this. So it's definitely been pivotal in my career. Absolutely.
Oh, that's good to hear. Laura said, what made you fall in love with hairdressing, Dayna?
Oh, that's a great question. Do you know what? I used to sit and play with hair all the time. I remember having my hair done after being at the salon, and I'd go home and I'd sit there and I'd brush my hair and plait my hair, and I'd literally just play with it. And I thought, right, I've got to get involved in hairdressing. The thing that made me fall in love with it the most, and I think, again, this is the thing I probably find the most difficult, it's with clients. Do you know what? You meet the most amazing people in the salon, and as you do some incredible people's hair. They can be so supportive, and you work with them through so many different parts of your life. And do you know what? They're incredible. I think it's the clients that make it for me, definitely.
And have you made a lot of friends?
Absolutely. I've had friends I've made for life from the first salon I worked in to now. That there's definitely a difference between a hairdressing friend and another friend. If you're on a different level, you can talk about loads of different stuff. Sometimes you need a hairdressing buddy just to get you through it, don't you? Definitely friends, clients, team members. I love being part of a team. That's been one of my favorite things.
Could we have a little recap? Because Laura's just asked, what color are you using, Dayna?
Okay. Awesome. So Laura, what color we're using at the moment is on the root area through here. I'm using a color which is a mix between a level 7 and a level 8 copper. On our ends, we're going to be using a level 10 copper. So we've got, say, a few shades difference between the two. By using a few shades deeper, I would say if you want something to be really harmonious and blend quite nicely and quite evenly, 1 to 2 shade deeper will give you a really, really nice soft blend. It's going to be really subtle. If you want something to be more of a pop, so you can have more of a contrast between the root and the end, I would say that you would want to do anything more than 3 shades deeper on the root to what you're doing on the ends, just so you've got a little bit more contrast coming through. You could do the roots black and the ends blonde. It's just making sure that we've got a really nice blend through the middle. So you can make anything work with this.
Brilliant. And just to make you guys aware that all the masterclasses that we have, we've done now, and I think we're past 20 online live masterclasses that we've done now. You can always go back and watch them again. So, what Dayna's doing today, for example, if this is something you want to do in the classroom or on a friend or a client, family member, whatever, you can always come back and recap these masterclasses.
This is it. So just to recap what we're doing, guys, as well, is we're bringing this root through. We're smudging down probably, I reckon, about 5 centimeters down the to the mid length. So we're just going, it's kind of like a long regrowth application. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to work our way down. And then as we work our way up, we're going to smudge slightly through. And once we finish applying all of the root, we're going to go through and apply our color through our ends, which is our lighter shade. And we're going to blend that through as well. So we're going to end up with a color that is slightly deeper at the root and then lighter at the end, but it's going to give us a really, really nice light pop of color through there as well. As we work around to the hairline at the front, around the eyes and around the face, we're going to just go a little bit, we're not going to smudge down as far, we're going to keep it a little bit lower in there, keep it a little bit higher so we can keep a lot of the light through the front.
Wonderful. And Jamie Lee says, what type of colour brand have you worked with and what one do you prefer?
Great question. I've worked with a few different colours actually. I've worked with, over the years, a lot of different colours depending on where I have been working. Each salon, they might like to use something different. At the moment, I'm using a brand called Lakme, which are a sustainable organic brand. So for me, that just fits in with all of my core values. So I like to use something that is a little bit more sustainable through there. I think every brand that is around have all got pros and cons. There are some fantastic parts of each brand. I wish you could just take them all and use, like, you can make like a hybrid of everything. That would be quite good.
And tell me this, you talk about sustainability.
Yeah.
How difficult is it, or how easy is it being a salon owner trying to have that sustainability ethic running through your salon?
You know what? I think as long as you've done the research and there's a lot to kind of look into when you're starting to figure out what to do. There are so many companies out there. Well, there's not so many. There are some fantastic companies out there that in terms of like your waste and things like that, that you can sign on to immediately and they can get you sorted tomorrow to be more sustainable. I just think it's doing your research first. I found when we started, it was such a big part of our core values that we wanted to be able to do as much good as we can. And I researched different companies, even like places where would they take our hair. Do you know, there was nowhere that I could send our hair to be, to be composted or anything like that. I had literally searched around, companies in the countryside that were, making fertilizers and things like that. And they wouldn't take our hair because it was trade waste or something like that. So I had to do a lot of research into who would take our rubbish, where does it go, who looks after the water, all of these different things. So there's a lot of research that goes into it, but there's some great places like the Green Salon Collective, Sustainable Salons, that they will actually take the work out for you. You can get in touch with them and they'll be able to basically send you boxes that you can send all your hair back in. They do your metals, all your PPE. They're fantastic for making it simple for the salon.
Brilliant. So competition, guys. I'm going to be giving away another goodie bag of products. And the question is, how many college trainers through the LSE network have achieved their gold scissors? And how a college trainer achieves their gold scissors, and I know Bond's got a pair of gold scissors, is they need to get a Big 10, which is our Michelin star equivalent, on every single recipe that they coach in the college. So we have 26, 28 recipes that we coach at Lee Stafford Education, and they need a Big 10 in every single one. That means they can basically do it as good as I can do it, as good as Dayna can do it. They are an LSE master college trainer. How many college trainers throughout the Lee Stafford Education Network have become Lee Stafford master trainers and received their gold scissors? The person with the right number or the nearest right number, I will send another goodie bag out to along with Laura's next week. So Bond's asked a very interesting question here, Dayna.
Yes.
If you hadn't have done hairdressing, what would you have done in your career, do you think? Was there any other alternative?
Oh, great question. Do you know what? I started hairdressing so young, so I think that the world would have been my oyster, really. I think I really like working with people, so I think it would have to be something to do with people, whether it is, I love the psychology behind people. I love figuring out what they're like. Whether I'd be smart enough for that, I'm not sure, but I definitely that would be something I would have liked to have gotten into that for sure.
Interesting. Well, do you know what? My dad was trying to get me to be a car valeter before I did hairdressing, which I didn't do. But now, I've had, I'm sure it's the same with you, Dayna. I've had a really, really contented, happy life being a hairdresser. And, you know, there's nothing I would have wanted to do other than be a hairdresser because, you know, you talked about earlier, you know, you've done hairdressing for 17 years. I've done it for 40 years, Dayna. Now that sounds old, right? It's been a hobby to me. It's been my passion. It's something that I've really, really enjoyed. But if I had to pick something else, looking back in hindsight now, my wife's an actor, or actress, should I say, and I've kind of half fancied myself as an actor. So that's maybe what I would have done if I hadn't have done hairdressing. There you go.
You've been picking up some tips.
So we're getting lots of numbers coming in now.
All right, guys. As we walk through our front, sorry, Lee, were you about to say something?
No, carry on, Dayna.
As we work through the front, we're still going to start smudging through. When you start to get to like your recession area or you're working towards that, we're just going to start taking it a little bit higher. So we're not going to take it down as far, I should say. I'm just painting away from the face, so it gives me a little bit more control over where I'm applying the color. And also I know that I'm not going to end up applying it onto the client's face.
I would just like to know, guys, would you please answer this question for me? How many of you are in a classroom right now watching this? So if there's any college trainers out there, if you're in a classroom with your students, would you please let us know? I know that Bond's in a classroom right now. Anyone else that's in a classroom with our students, would you please let us know? That would be wonderfully helpful. Thank you.
That would be great, actually. If you're watching this at college, that would be quite cool.
We are in a classroom. That's Laura. What classroom are you in? What college, Laura? And I'm curious, are you in a classroom, Laura, watching this on the big screen with the rest of the students, or are you watching it on your own device, your own phone? So how important is the colour wheel to your day-to-day colouring life, Dayna?
Good question. I think that it's so important. We use it a lot of the time, especially when you're trying to do a color correction or choosing your toners or anything like that as well. I would say we look at that quite often, even talking about color choice with the client as well, working out if something is going to work with what we've got or if we need to talk about neutralization or correction. Definitely the color wheel is super important. I think it's one of those things that you think you know, and it's quite easy to take for granted. So I think that I definitely go back to it more than I thought I would. More now than when I did when I first started, probably because I just thought I knew everything at that point. And then you make
Paula's watching this from her car because she has a gap in her day. Paula, that is an amazing attitude to have. You've got a gap in your college day and you're sitting in your car watching this masterclass. That is the attitude of a winner. And already I know that you're going to be successful in your career with that kind of attitude, Paula. So congratulations already.
That is amazing. I hope it's not too cold in that car, Paula. You got the heat on.
Oh, so Laura said she's in the college on a big screen and we have it on our phones. And we have our phones out too. Thanks for confirming that, Laura.
Never been on a big screen before, guys, so this is special. Thank you. Cool. So as we're working through the front here, you will see that this we're not stretching it down as far as what we had done through the back, just so it allows us when we're around the face. I don't know if you can see through here. We're slightly getting a little bit closer to where the eyes are. It's getting a little bit lighter, and our blend is kind of coming through on a diagonal slightly. So when we start to blend this through and we style it out, you'll have a really nice pop of some light that will come through there.
What LSE recipe do you use most in the salon, Dayna?
Do you know what? I think we use all of them quite often, actually. We do quite a lot of long hair in the salon. So I would say the long graduation is probably one of our favorites. And at the moment, with a few of the kind of like shag styles and everything as well, it's kind of an adaptation of the long graduation. So we tend to use that, I would say, quite often. We do a lot of like bobs and everything like that. I have to say, I do love the Lee Stafford one length above. The drying it before cutting the front, you can just really kind of work that into the shape of the client, the length. You can get that perfect sharp edge on that bob, and I think that's one of my favorites.
Paula's not cold in her car. That's good news.
Good job, Paula.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. So we're just bringing this all the way through, guys. So once we've finished all of the root, we've got the root on the other quadrant to go. So we're just going to give that a little comb through. Again, we're smudging with we're pinching the color through to get our saturation with our finger and our thumb. And this is going to be over that radial ridge, just so we've got a really, really nice blend through there. And I think you can probably already start to see, as this is slowly developing, we can already start to see that kind of blend coming through.
So just to let you all know that people have got close to the number of gold scissors achieved by college trainers, but no one has got it bang on yet.
Oh.
Got close, but not bang on.
How amazing it is to have a pair of gold scissors, though.
I know. And a pair of Joel's, with your name engraved on them.
Wow, that is special. And there's a lot of work that goes into that as well.
There's a hell of a lot of work and passion and, and skill, there really is. 48 from Ellie. We've got Gemily 85, Amber 43, Laura 80, Tracy 60, Ellie 76, Anna 47. They're all coming in.
They're all big numbers.
Yeah, they are. Oh, there's one here. Now, I like this number. Amanda's put in 27,800.
Wow, that many.
That is very. Oh no, I think she might have made a mistake. 27.
That's a number, isn't it? That's the dream, right?
That is the dream. That is the dream.
In the world if that happens.
So you're in your salon at the moment, right, Dayna?
Yes, yeah, we're in the salon at the moment.
Is this the back of the salon that we're in now?
Yeah, this is the back of the salon. The salon is quite a quirky kind of space. It's not a huge space, but it is a quirky space. It used to be a house, and our landlord, who is still the current landlord now, her husband, he grew up here, which is really weird.
Right.
Yeah, so we're kind of sitting in what would have been their old, I guess, kitchen. There's a fireplace, like an empty old fireplace behind us, and we've got another one where the kitchen used to be somewhere else there. But it's kind of, we're tucked around in loads of little spaces here. So it's a good little, it's quite private for clients, actually.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. So when you're doing this as well, if you're doing this at the basin as a toner, you could get this through quite quickly. And as well, like the faster that you get at this, the quicker it will be. Depending on, we're talking about application for, say, hair condition or toning or anything like that. It's just being really, really mindful of what your client does have. Go back through your color wheel, talk about your neutralization, how far do you have to go. Sometimes you don't need to overwork your toner or kind of overtone as such. You can be a little bit more gentle with it. But just be really,
if I'm wrong, Dayna, this is kind of very similar to the root lift tint, apart from you are smudging it more down the hair.
Exactly. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, so when we go back through our next step where we go through and smudging it through the ends, that's where we're going to change our color selection. So we're not using the same color from the root to the end. Our color selection is going to be slightly lighter. But you could use any color for this. You could use your a darker color on the ends and a lighter color at the root, kind of similar to last week when Lydia did her dip dye. She's talked about being able to use, whatever colors you wanted, depending on how bold or how soft you wanted your look to be.
And the hair doesn't need to be bleached to do this, does it?
No, absolutely not. You can work with any hair color, with anything that you've got. It's a really nice way to work with that, especially like we were saying. I mean, I'm just using a lighter model or a lighter doll today, mannequin, just so we could work with a color that was a little bit lighter, opposed to doing a kind of a brown, like a natural brown and a blonde. So we could actually see a little bit of something else through there. Once you see the finished result, you'll see what I mean. Cool. So we just keep smudging this through a little bit. Using our comb. And if you can see, if you've got any little splodges of colour in there, just get your fingers and just kind of smudge them through. That will help save that for you.
So you flat out tomorrow in the salon, Dayna?
Yes, we're from 10 till 8 tomorrow, chock-a-block full. Flat out now until mid-Jan.
Wow, that's unbelievable. I mean, that really is good to be booked out the whole salon 2 months.
Yeah, it is. It's quite special, actually. It feels quite overwhelming to be that busy, but it's great because that's what you strive for, isn't it?
It certainly is. And what happens when a client rings up to try to get booked in with you, it must make them to want to get booked in with you even more when you tell them you haven't got any vacancies for 2 months.
This is it. It's either that or it's like they're on a waiting list and they'll be phoning and phoning. But you do have a few cancellations here and there, so sometimes you can fit them in a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But I guess your favourite ones, guys, get all your favourite clients booked in. So.
And tell me this, Dayna, how important to your business is getting your clients pre-booked the next time they come in?
I think it's super important. It's essential to make sure that in 6 weeks' time you've got business there for sure. Any of your bosses will, for you guys that are going to be stylists soon, I think that it's incredible. You need to have them booked in. It's detrimental to make sure you're a busy stylist. No one wants to be that one sitting around waiting for someone to turn up. And also as well, like, you create a journey with your clients too. So when you talk to them about what you're doing and what they're having done, especially if it's something similar to what we're doing today, or educate them on what we need to do with the hair and get them booked in for sure. Because then you can do the stuff that you want to do, opposed to just doing the things that you just get popped in your column because you're free.
So tell me this, what percentage of your clients would you get rebooked?
It changed at different times of the year. This time of the year, I would say that I did look the other day, we're about 86% rebooking. Wow. For our clients. In some of the other times of the year, it could be a little bit lower. Christmas is always one of those really, really busy times where they want to get sorted, but we're always sitting somewhere around 75-80% of our clients. All right, guys. So this is where we start to move on to our next step. So we've gone through, we've done our longer route everywhere. We're going to start to work back through our quadrants again. So we started in our back 2 quadrants. So we're going to work in the back first and then work our way towards the front. We're going to pop a piece of foil on top like we do in our recipe as well. This is to make sure that we don't get any of this colour of our nice ends blonde from the previous colour we've used before. So as we work up through the head, I'm going to remove this foil that we've got through here. Please let me know if you can see all of this as well.
Yeah.
Well, let me grab my brush. So we can see through here, we've got our blend, we've got our depth of our root, we've got our light ends. What I'm going to work on in this section is this mid area first. I'm going to apply my end colour through here. And then I'm going to give this a really, really nice smudge. And I'm going to almost bleed the root colour and the end colour together. I'm doing it in this mid-bend first before I apply any colour to my ends. And this is to make sure that I've got that blend really, really nice and soft.
What colour is that again you're putting on there, Dayna?
So this colour is a level 10 copper. So
just to refresh my memory, the root colour was what?
A mix between a level 7 and a level 8 copper, and
Gotcha.
the ends are going to be a level 10. So we're still going to have...
going from a darker copper into a lighter copper now.
Exactly, yes. And then as we go through, I'm just wiping my hands on a towel to make sure that my fingers are really nice and clean. So when I go through and touch all of our other blonde, I'm not going to pull any of that colour anywhere through. I'm working cleanly, and this is essential with this recipe to be able to work as cleanly as possible throughout.
What is your salon called again, Dayna?
Our salon is called Bimbo's Hair, and we're based in Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk. All right, guys, so just that middle section, we're going to use our finger and our thumb to really pinch through and blend that mid-band together. We want to make sure that our saturation is really good. So if our hair is not saturated in our blend, what you will find will happen is you'll have a really nice kind of fully saturated end color, and then that mid-band may end up looking a little bit patchy. So it's definitely essential to make sure we apply that color through there, really, really work it into that mid-band, and then follow through to the ends. And that's the same if you're working with a vivid or anything like that as well. We want to make sure that you kind of don't be scared of blending the 2 colors together. If you're working with colors that are, you know, talking back to your color wheel, if you're working with warmer colors, they'll blend really, really lovely together. If you're working with cooler colors, they'll blend really lovely together. If they're opposing on the color wheel, you may find that you need to think about your color selection of what you're choosing with your color as well. You don't want to choose something, then you end up with like that weird neutralized kind of muddy color in the middle.
Yeah. Guys, any questions for Dayna at this point? Please keep them coming in, because we've only got literally 11 minutes left. So please, guys, any questions that you've got, now is the time to ask them.
All right, so keep working through. I'm going to smudge that through. Can we get this in 11 minutes? We've got a finished result, guys. Don't worry. You won't be looking at me applying it all over.
That's the beauty of a finished result, right?
This is it.
And how much would you charge for something like this in the salon, Dayna?
So it depends really. Something like this I would call what we would call a root stretch. Our root stretches for something like this, if it is we're applying like this as we're through, I feel like, and I need to double check, I should know exactly all of my prices, it's about £75, £80, depending on the length of hair and the amount of colour needed. Cool, so we keep smudging through. What I'll show you, I'm going to move on to the front quadrant so you can see what we've done with the front through here, because it is slightly different towards than the back, where our blend hasn't come down as far. So let me just work on that front for you so I can show you what we need to do through there. And again, please tell me if you can't see. I'm going to still pop our piece of foil on top to work with our, making sure we don't have any colour on the blonde ends that we're going to apply over. So you can see through here, compared to the back, we're not going down as far around the face. We still want to keep that pop of colour in through here. We're going to really work on saturating that colour into our blend, working with our finger and our thumb to really pinch that colour and milk that colour through so it is fully saturated. Then we're going to come through and bring that through the ends. So you'll find at the front there's a lot more of the ends to colour than what there is through the back. And then you can be as creative with this if you want to. You know, you don't need to always, you might want to take the root down further, you might want to take it up higher, you may want to even take out that very front section and just do that as with your lightest colour. So you've got a really strong kind of colour block and a pop of colour through there. It is super versatile. That's the biggest thing I can say with this, is that you can use it in so many different ways. Smudging our way through. How do you guys get on with applying colour? You guys good with that? Do you like an all-over colour? Do you like the little mix-up that we've done today?
Got a question from Laura. She says, how long would this normally take you if you didn't have the questions and you could just get through it? How long would it normally take you?
Great question. So if I'm doing this on a client, normally I would allow about, say, 45 minutes to apply without all the questions. If I was doing it as a toner at the basin, it would be a little bit quicker because the hair is already wet. We're working on bigger sections. So then that does tend to work a little bit quicker as well through there. So you could easily get this on quite fast. All right. Let me work through this top section, guys, and then I will show you the finished result. Oh gosh, pressure's on now.
How long does it take to do a quasi? Catalin has asked.
A quasi. So, and are we talking an all-over quasi, Caitlin?
Yeah, an all-over quasi.
I would say anywhere between half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on the thickness of the hair and the consultation and things like that. All right. Cool, guys. So we're working on our down that mid-bend first. Really, really saturating that through. That's probably got to be the biggest tip out of everything, is really saturate that through so you can work on your blend and keep that as smooth as possible. And then we're going to work all the way through our ends. Again, keeping the hair fully saturated. And I'll show you through here as well, if I can spin her around. Just while this is developing, you will already start to see the way that that is slightly deeper and blended into something really soft there as well. And then with our front section as well, we're really, really deep, and then we've kind of blended through something really nice and soft. So let me show you our finished result. Here she is. So we have a brighter copper through that root there. Where are we? I'm on backwards.
Got it.
And then we've got a little pop of colour through the front. So if I lift this up in through here, you'll see where she's a little bit deeper, and you've got that really nice soft kind of blend.
That looks lovely. It's very soft and commercial, very pretty, but it's got an edge to it, hasn't it, Dayna?
Yeah, this is it. It's a really, really nice way to be able to kind of transition into something. These colours are really lovely. They're a really nice apricot. They're quite nice this time of year. But again, you can adapt that into any way that you like, really, as well, which is
you're getting a lot of love here. What do you think of the colours, guys? What do you think of Dayna's colour? I think it's beautiful because, like you say, your choice of colour, you could make it as subtle and as pretty as that, commercial as that, or you could pick really strong colours and make it very dynamic.
Absolutely. And it's quite, you know, there's a lot of colours that you'll see, say, on Instagram or on Pinterest that you can really adapt this to. Any of those vivids or the crazy colours, this technique would work, you know, so well with that as well.
It's beautiful, Dayna.
Thank you.
And the winner of the competition with 41, the right 41 number is Tracy Richardson. So Tracy Richardson, please get your college trainer to send me an email letting me know what your hair's type and where I should send the products to. Catalin said, well done, Dayna. Brilliant job. Fantastic. Brilliantly presented. Thank you very much for that. Guys, thank you for watching again. Just so you know, you can watch this again if you need to, or any of the other masterclasses, the online masterclasses that we've done at Lee Stafford Education. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Take care. Thank you, Dayna, again.
Thank you for having me, guys.
See you all soon. Bye-bye. Oh, we've got some more love here. Let's just have a look. We got, thank you for showing us. Love it. It's all coming through. Bond says, excellent. I really enjoyed watching today. Tracy Richardson, thank you, Lee, for the products. No problem, Tracy. They're on their way to you. Okay. Under an hour again, Dayna. Very professional. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, guys.